If you've been scrolling through endless soundbar comparisons, watching OnePlus and a 345-inch wide spec sheets, and still feel a knot in your stomach wondering if you're about to waste a good chunk of your budget, this review is here to untangle that mess. You're probably wondering whether a compact bar can actually give you the cinema-level immersion you hear about on YouTube without turning your living room into a tech circus. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's walk through what the Sonos Beam actually does in a real home, what kinds of people will feel the payoff, and who might be better off looking elsewhere. First off, the Beam is a 2x2-foot rectangle that slips onto a TV stand or hangs just beneath a wall-mounted screen. Its claim to fame is that it's smart, Alexa lives inside, the remote is optional, and it talks to other Sonos speakers for a whole home audio network. That sounds neat, but the real question is how those promises translate when you're binge watching a sitcom, cranking up a playlist while cooking, or trying to hear the dialogue in a foreign language film without subtitles. From the moment I popped the box, the setup was as painless as the marketing suggests. 2 cords, power, and an HDMI/RC, or optical, and the Sonos app does the heavy lifting. The app walks you through naming the room, connecting to Wi-Fi, and calibrating the bar's internal speaker array to your room's dimensions. There's no fiddly manual, no need to wrestle a separate subwoofer into place, and you're technically ready to play within 10 minutes. That speed matters for anyone who isn't a tech-savvy enthusiast and just wants the bar to work straight out of the box. Now let's talk sound. The Beam was tuned by Oscar-winning sound engineers, and while that's a flashy line, the day-to-day result is a surprisingly balanced profile for its size. Dialogue sits forward, which is a lifesaver for sitcoms and drama series where you need to catch a quick quip. In my living room, the speech clarity held up even when the TV volume was turned down to 15% and the Beam was cranked to 50%. For movies, the Beam delivers a decent sense of width thanks to its 4 tweeters and 3 mid-range drivers, but it isn't a substitute for a full-size 5.1 system. Bass is present, but it's more of a tight thump than the rumble you'd expect from a dedicated sub. If you're watching a blockbuster with explosions, you'll feel the impact, but you might still miss the low-frequency depth that a separate subwoofer provides. In practice, this means most people will be satisfied watching TV shows and casual movies, but true audiophiles or home theater purists will notice the limitation. The built-in Alexa is another practical angle. I used it to ask for the weather while cooking, to set a timer for a boiled egg, and to queue up a Spotify playlist without lifting a finger. The voice response is clear, and the integration works without any extra hub. However, there's a trade-off. You can't enable Google Assistant or Siri directly on the Beam. You're locked into Alexa unless you route commands through the Sonos app on a phone. For households already entrenched in Google or Apple ecosystems, that could feel restrictive. One of the biggest hidden costs with Sonos products is the reliance on the Sonos app for everything. There's no traditional remote control that does all the functions, and while you can still use your TV remote for basic volume, advanced features like switching inputs or adjusting EQ live are only accessible through the app. If you're someone who likes to keep a remote on the coffee table and avoid pulling out a phone, you'll need to adjust to that workflow. On the flip side, the app is polished, offers true-time room tuning, and lets you group the Beam with other Sonos speakers for multi-room playback. That's a strong point if you already own a Sonos ecosystem or plan to expand. What about connectivity? The Beam supports HDMI/RC, which means it can pass through video and audio signals from the TV without extra cables. That's handy if you have a streaming box, game console, or Blu-ray player. The optical option is a fallback, but you lose the ability to control the TV's volume via the Beam when using optical. You'll be stuck with the TV's own volume control. In my setup, the HDMI/RC path let me mute the TV completely and rely on the Beam's volume knob via the app, which reduced the overall noise floor and made late-night viewing less intrusive for the apartment downstairs. Now, who should actually buy this? If you have a mid-sized TV, under 55 inches, in a living room, bedroom, or home office, and you want a clean, wireless look without a massive subwoofer, the Beam hits the sweet spot. It's especially appealing for renters who can't drill holes for big speakers and for families who want voice-controlled music without buying a separate smart speaker. The value also shines if you already own other Sonos devices. The beam slots into that ecosystem effortlessly, letting you fill